Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the love of the challenge. I'm your host, Robert Stewart Jr., and we are back with another episode of All Stars. Becky, how you doing this evening?
I'm irritated.
She's irritated. She's always irritated because of the fact that, oh, snaps. It's because she can't get the background. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was an interesting
That's
episode.
fine.
Adam and Steve actually won this this week's challenge, which was interesting. You had Frank and Sam, but A Block, nothing was really going on. But we're gonna go ahead and jump right into the daily challenge, which is that what was it called? Do you remember?
I never remember what the name of the challenges are.
Um, Let me see if I can remember. Oh, playing dirty. So they had to uncover a puzzle, basically, slide down this what was it? Slide to uncover symbols to solve the puzzle, which was actually interesting for sure. So, what did you think of this week's episode, Becky?
Um, it was an episode. I mean, it was definitely interesting to see what they did with the star. I'm glad that they didn't just do you can pick your friends. I think they learned from last season that that's not the best option. Because basically people who are undeserving ended up going into the final because they were just chosen. So I like the fact that you have to earn the second star. So that's good. I did find it interesting everybody's strategies. Um, Watching, I guess Turbo saying Nani needs to trust me after he says he doesn't trust Nani over and over again, and how he wants to screw Nani over. So I don't really blame Nani for not being trustworthy of Turbo, especially with their still having language and communication issues. Um, but yeah, otherwise it was definitely interesting. It worked more for people who had more weight or length, because it was just hard to get all that black off, like especially for like Nicole and Melissa.
Right. So it definitely was interesting. I was interested in Frank and Sam, how well they did, especially how quickly they solved the puzzle. And they were actually the star holders that actually won, because this was what star holders that they were giving away 2 stars. Was it 2 stars or 1 star?
They
For the
gave away 1 star.
star for the team,
Yeah.
so they could go to the final. So the Sam and Frank got their star, which was good. But I think the surprise here was Steve and Adam winning the day's challenge, which they didn't expect it because they thought they were gonna lose, so they could throw them in. So the chaos would begin once they get back to the house. And so I thought that was interesting. What did you think about Adam and Steve winning? Do you feel like that it was about time that it was a change of pace?
Well, I mean, I think we all were at that point. So finally, they picked it up. They did what they needed to do, and they won a daily finally. I mean, they were always kind of just right there. It wasn't a situation where they were ever bottom of the tier. They were right at the cusp. So, watching them kind of excel made me very happy. I'm always glad to see it because I think that they really they earned it and they deserved it, and they did need a day off. Now, hopefully, they can maintain the winning streak, because I think that they'll be right back in to the elimination if they don't.
Do you think that at this point, if you throw them in, you know whoever going against them is going home one way or the other? I don't think it's
No,
keep throwing them in.
not necessarily, because it's the law of averages. You can only win so many eliminations. You can only, do so much. And eventually they're going to go against really heavy hitters. They're going to go against a Amber and a Fessy, in that kind of situation. So, I mean, I don't think that there's like even like a Dario and an Ashley, even though they don't get along, they're very strong and they're very good individual players. So together they make a good power team if they can just make it work. But yeah, no, I don't think Adam and Steve are flawless or to the fact that they will always win, but it really depends on the elimination and it depends on who they're going against.
It's going to be interesting to see if you keep throwing these guys in, if they make it all the way to the final. I'm laughing if these two win this year's All Star. I am laughing at these fools for throwing them in, and you just gave them a ticket to a final that they had to work for all season long. So I would be hesitant to put them into the elimination. That's just me personally.
But
So
that's the thing. I don't think it's stupid. I think they're really trying to get that star and they're trying to get rid of a team that they think that they can easily get rid of because of their age and because of whether or not they really have the stamina or desire to keep getting thrown in because eventually you get sick of it. And more than one person has walked if they
I mean,
continuously get put in.
Steve already said his motivation is the money. He came close to winning the final, and he's got something to prove. So I think right there, that's their number one downfall. Because this man here, if he said it and he put it out there in the universe, best believe he's fueled by the money and what happened to him last season. So he's got something to prove. So I feel like you're more dangerous at that point. So I wouldn't even think about throwing them in because the possibility of you going home has become even greater at this point in the game because he's already said, I'm not going home. I'm fueled by winning this year's season. So whether you like it or not, I would not throw this team in. I would want to see these other teams pit each other against each other and see who wins. So it's going to be interesting, especially with the chatter going back at the house. Veronica and what's her name? Katie.
Katie.
These two, I don't know how long their sneakiness is going to last with who's going to go in because we don't know at this point who's going to go in because there's a lot of conversation that's being had. Veronica's going around planting seeds, and I find it interesting that when we go to the deliberation, it's a whole nother thing, and it's almost like a 360. And for some reason, they're not showing us extra conversation that would actually help us decipher, okay, what's going on with people getting thrown in. Do you feel like they are dropping the ball this season with the edits?
I mean, they do the same thing every season. This isn't something that's new. This is not something that's going to change. I do. And the thing is they have to get, there's way too many people. It's a large amount of people. They're not going to really be able to get all their stories out really until the end. So like at that point, it makes sense. Okay. So we're going to sit down and have we're going to sit down and play the conversation we had with Big T. We're going to have a conversation with the conversation about what Corey wants to do with the money. And, we're going to have that highlight and be that kind of spotlight on them. So, I mean, I don't think it needs to change. I think it's the same thing that we've always seen, and you can't be mad at it, in my opinion.
I mean, it was surprising because I didn't think Ashley, as they voted Ashley and Dario into elimination, I thought it was going to be the other way around. I thought Nicole and Mel was going in, but that wasn't the case. So I got thrown a curveball that way. And I think it was some key conversations that they didn't show that actually could have said, okay, now we already know who's going in. So they're making it more of a surprise on who going in at this one. Was you surprised at Ashley and Dario going into elimination this go round?
I mean, yeah. I honestly didn't think that they would be the ones chosen.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I don't know how they figured that one out in its entirety, but kind of proud because that really did kind of confuse a lot of people. I think it confused everybody in the house too. Because
Yeah.
like, where did this come from? The infamous "who is they"
Right.
conversation happening.
Right.
So
And then TJ alluded to it and said, who is they? And Davon wasn't giving enough no information. She said, I don't know who they is. So I got to give her props for not being a snitch. because that would have put a target on their backs, and then they would have probably became public enemy number one. So,
but you can tell it was eating, what's his name, alive. He really wanted them to really out who this person was.
right.
And I get it too, because you're like, hello, we're right here. Tell us what happened. I get that you don't want to like make waves, and especially someone like Davon who has had nonstop issues. Making waves is kind of what ends up happening to her, and she always ends up with the short end of the stick. But I also understand TJ's frustration with it, because why? Why won't you guys just tell us what's going on, you know?
Right, right. So, and ain't nobody gonna give up their sources at that point. So we fast forward, we go into the elimination, and um, who? Oh, Steve and Adam has to make a choice to throw someone into elimination. At this point, we don't know anything until Adam said there was a conversation had between two teams. Those teams we made deals with, and they threw in Big T and what's his name? I, I don't know why I'm forgetting. Corey, Big T and Corey. So I was kind of surprised that they threw him in and they didn't really show the conversation until after we were at the elimination, instead of having those two conversations prior to. Now, unless I missed something in between there where they had the conversations before going to elimination. So was you surprised that Big T and Corey got voted into elimination?
I mean, I think this whole thing was a surprise, because I really honestly thought Melissa and Nicole were going in. So they really played it well. They definitely were able to um twist it and to get what needed to get done. So big props to them, for being able to fly under that radar. Whether or not that's going to be able to be a long-term thing, because it looks like they've gotten found out. But, what are we going to do?
Yeah, we'll see. Especially this elimination was interesting, especially with the puzzle they had. Well, not technically not a puzzle, but had to balance themselves with Big T and Corey off balance. I was not surprised that these two lost, but I would have been surprised if they would have won, because of the weight disproportion was totally off on Corey and Big T. But they gave a good fight, so I got to give them their props on there, and they fought to the bitter end. So big ups to Corey and Big T for sticking it out and almost actually pulling it off. So I got to give them their props on that. But Dario and Ashley stays in the house, so I'm interested to see what happens after this. Is it a big fallout or whatnot? But I'm glad that Corey actually told what's her name? Oh, I had a brain. My brain.
Amanda. Oh no, Amber.
Amber told Amber what was going on with Veronica and Katie. So it's definitely,
well, big ups to Corey for figuring it out.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people were missing it. And I was like, how are we missing this, guys?
Right.
Like, it's right there. Right. Like,
it was given away in the beginning where Veronica and Katie kind of stirred the pot a little bit. And I'm surprised it wasn't, because it's about time somebody figured it out, though. But by the time it was figured out, Corey was going home. So, but at least he told Amber.
Yeah. I mean, and Amber, the thing is Amber, come on, Amber. She was so slow.
She's not that
I was like, what the fuck, dude? How are you missing this? It's heartbreaking to see, because you can see that it hurts her feelings. She really wanted to trust Veronica, and Veronica took advantage, which is also smart on Veronica's part. But yeah, it is heartbreaking. It is upsetting at the same time, as it's like, really, this is what we're gonna do? But okay, I guess that's how it's gonna work. But yeah, annoying in more ways than one.
Right. Corey Big T goes home. Now, next episode, it's gonna be interesting to see because with some of these teams dwindling down, does Adam and Steve go back into elimination if they do not win? We know that's going to possibly be it if they don't win. If they win, how the dynamic of the house is going to change. Now, if they keep winning, I'm interested to see how the dynamics of the house change because it's going to be a huge change because it's always some type of curveball that happens in these games, especially when you get late in the game. So I'm interested to see how this all plays out. If Adam and Steve make it to the end and win it all, or they make it to the end and come up short, I don't know. I cannot wait to see this thing plays out. Who will be the emerging team to take the throne, and be the new champion? I can't wait to see all of it play out. What's your take on the rest of this season?
I mean, I'm interested to see on how this plays out and how more people, if more people are going to be able to spot when people are doing shady stuff. You know, I honestly don't know how it took so long to figure it out, but far be it to me to judge people who don't seem to want to believe and understand that people are shady. Um, but you know, when you're gullible, things kind of end up not working out for you. But I am interested to see. I want to see how some of these bigger players are going to play out because we do need to see what Fessy and all of them try to use in order to try and get into this final. Because you just see these people like, and you're like, hello, are we getting there? Like when is this going to work out for everybody? Or are you just not going to, you know, try for a spot like at all? Like
Right.
they
And how far does Dorian Ashley get? I'm interested to see how for these two get. They are a strong team, so they have a strong possibility to make it to the final and win. Davon and well, my brain is going dead. Davon and
Shane.
Dang, I don't know why my brain is going dead. I'm interested to see what this group does because if they make it to the final, they can probably do some damage with those two. I'm interested to see how that turns out if they
I'm
make
over here like, come on, man. How am I the one that's remembering all these people?
right. And I'm just like my brain for some reason is being turned off. And I had just got finished watching it again. So I just watched it like 3 times already. So I should already know because it's fresh in my mind and my mind just went off. Okay. So but Veronica and Katie, I don't know how much borrowed time they have left. I think honestly they don't borrow time. I don't think they even make it to a final, honestly. What you think about Veronica and Katie making it to a final?
If Veronica and Katie made it to a final, I would be shocked. I don't see him doing it. As much as I love Katie and, with everything, I just don't see it happening at all. As much as I would like it. Because I do really like Katie. I love how she's doing like Katie's words of advice. You know, this is how Katie does the challenge. And that's super cute. Reminds me very much of CT's pro tips.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really hoping that we get more of Katie, less of Veronica, which is, I hate to say that, Veronica is really.
Veronica had her time, and I think her time has. I already think her son has set on Veronica. She still got a little fight left in her, but I think it's time for her to retire at this point. And
I don't see any fight in her. I just see like annoying gameplay. Like I just don't.
when she's in a elimination, she a little scrappy. So she got a little scrappy left in her. So especially you get to that age where you scrap, you give it your all, and because that'll be it. So I already made my announcement that I'm doing my last Spartan race because I'm breaking down. So I said I'm gonna do one more before I officially retire, but not retire from the game of fitness. So I can't wait to do that and share that story with y'all. So, any last words for this episode?
No, I really hope that Steve can keep it going. I know he's attached to Adam, who I'm not a huge fan of, but honestly, I want to see Steve succeed because you can see he's got so much heart in him and he really wants it. Um, so I want them to keep going and I want them to make it happen. I'm crossing my fingers that we make it happen for our old men and that they're able to beat, like, can you imagine if they're able to beat all these young kids?
Yeah,
Like,
I've seen it. That wouldn't be no surprise to me because I've seen it on the Spartan level. Because a
but the
lot,
thing is this is not a Spartan race,
yeah, I know
Rana.
that,
So
but they,
this is
that's
not
what
running a race. This is literally like doing other
the
things.
final is basically is a lot of the stuff that they do in sport and race. They do it on the challenge. So I mean that stuff is not new, and there's some of the stuff that I see on the challenge now. It's like can't they bring that out to sport and race? Because that's a lot easier than the stuff they got us doing out there. So it's definitely interesting to see the pros and the cons of both because they go pretty much go hand in hand. So I'm interested to see if Adam and Steve take. I'm laughing if they win this whole season, and you kept throwing them in, and I'm like, y'all stupid, keep throwing these guys in.
Well, at this point, what are they going to do? Not throw them in and then just let them coast to the rest of the final?
Because if you might as well, because at this point, if you throw them in, you going home. I don't care who you going against. I don't care how big and bad you are. You going home because Steve and Adam, so far, they're undefeated in elimination this season. Nobody's been able to beat them. They've come close to losing, but they didn't lose, so they're still in the game. So they are a huge threat at this point, and it's going to be hard to get them out. So why keep throwing them in when you got to go against them? And you're going to end up going home anyway, even regardless of how confident you are of beating them, you're going in and going home. So, I mean, I don't get it. I would just let them go in and sail to the final because they got their start. They're not relinquishing. So you wasting your time with targeting them. Target somebody else that you can take their star. That's the name of the game. They keep throwing them in and say, okay, this is an easy pick. Keep throwing them in. Well, that's fine. You going to go home. Congratulations. You got a one-way ticket back to the U.S. Handed to you by Steve and Adam. So congratulations, you going home anyway. So whoever goes up against Adam and Steve at this point from here on out, I'm expecting Adam and Steve to stay in the game.
But again, I think that's too overconfident. Like that is way too overconfident. I mean, look at this. Like you see people continuously get tossed into elimination, and it's literally on that last elimination that they get sent home. They could send so many people home. I mean, look at, it's not a guarantee that you're going to make it to the final. I mean, look at what happened during the Quest for a New Challenge.
Right.
Like you saw someone like now his name is blanking on me, Curly Q.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about my brain's
Oh my God. He kept getting thrown in, but basically he kept getting thrown in and then he finally lost at the end. Horacio keeps getting thrown in and he gets to, he doesn't make it to the end. It's one of those situations where eventually you won't be able to continue on. I mean, even things like even people like Derek, if you're going into elimination so much, you're going to end up getting injured. You're going to be exhausted.
He was injured, but he should have actually won that against Corey, but they gave it to Corey because I forgot what technicality they put. Even he was beating him on one leg, so I gotta give his props on that. Dirty, that was off the chain.
It has nothing to do with one leg. It has everything to do with the fact that he played, and you, unfortunately, even though you have one leg, that's not something that they're going to take into effect. It's not.
No, you a G, man. That was one of his best eliminations, man. They was neck and neck. Yeah. How you gonna be on one leg and you still neck and neck with the person that's got two? Come on now. You can't underestimate that. Let's go.
And I'm not saying that he isn't an amazing competitor because he is. But again, eventually your time is up and you can
And
only do
that's
so much.
but I wouldn't at this, from my point of view at this point I wouldn't even throw them in because it's a waste of time because you're gonna end up going home. So if I at this point when I'm watching it from my point of view, if I see them go in, I know they coming back. The other team's going home. I'm not seeing them losing to anybody at this point in the game because you throw them in every time they knocking them down and sending them home. They say you got a one way trip back to the U.S. Goodbye. So it don't matter. But big things coming down the line. YouTube. We are now on YouTube. I've been already posting some things on YouTube. Go check it out for the love of the challenge. I so forth throughout Latarion's interview that I did, and also I threw out Tech's interview. Those two were one of my favorites. I still got more interviews I'm going to throw out there. I'm going to start throwing out the podcast on YouTube. Check me out. Subscribe, like, comment what you like about it, what you don't like about it. I am going to be throwing some old old podcasts up so you can see what goes on behind the scenes because it's a lot that goes on that y'all don't see. So I got to make sure it's PG that what we are seeing, but it's definitely interesting. So I got a lot of things coming down the pipeline. We're gonna try to go live one of these days. So I'm working on getting it live. So stay tuned for the love of the challenge. Becky, how can we get in touch with you, girl?
Well, you can find me at Giftmaster Bex on both Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, holler at me,
Yeah,
as the kids would say.
yes. For the love of the challenge, we are booming. So with that said, till next time, peace.
Bye.